This is Pat McGuigan, and I'm interviewing U.S. Representative James Lankford in his Oklahoma City office. Congressman, give us a thumbnail of the reason you voted for the deal that avoided default in Washington.
Yeah, I don't think anyone liked this deal in it, but we had several dynamics that had to be addressed on it. One is we've got to find a way to be able to move our nation forward on paying down debt long term. It doesn't cut very much spending in the near term, it puts all the pain off. But we still have to have a plan to start taking that on. So we have this small cut initially, which the Democrats in the Senate fought like crazy to have the smallest amount possible at the beginning of it. We wanted statutory caps, which is a way to be able to limit discretionary spending. We got that in for the next 10 years. It limits the growth of government in all of our discretionary spending to less than the rate of inflation. That's a big deal to be able to get that kind of cap to finally slow down our spending after increasing 25% the last 2 years. To get that mountain capped off is a big deal on it, and then it forces us to have a serious national conversation on the balanced budget amendment. It gives us 3 months to talk about this summer. It brings us to a vote on it sometime this fall, and I think that's something that is passable. And I think that's ultimately the solution that we've got to have, is some way to put boundaries around Congress.
Some critics have pointed, some conservative critics have pointed to the potential for sequestration or automatic cuts.
Right.
Give us a real quick read on why you think that's not going to, in the end, be a problem.
Yeah, that's not going to be an issue for us because it's so dramatic. No one wants that. The president doesn't want that. The House and the Senate do not want that. This is the same sequestration. This is the same across-the-board cuts that we had back in the 1990s during the Graham-Rudman-Hollings time. And that boundary that was put in those spending caps, this is the exact same formula as that. It never occurred, never happened during that time as well. It does a quick cut, and it also does this. If that sequestration kicks in, it doesn't increase the debt past what we have to do to get past the election. That guarantees we'll be dealing with debt ceiling again right before the 2012 election. It's the last thing the president wants to be talking about during that time period, and so we need to make sure, he's going to make sure that doesn't happen.
I want to pose the McGuigan theory on this, which I don't think I'm the only one that holds this, but it seems to me that in the last year, significantly since the creation of a Republican House, that the dynamic has shifted towards the discussion is now centered around spending, less so than revenue enhancement or tax increases. Do you think that's right?
I do think that's right. You think about a year ago, 2 years ago, all the talk was about another stimulus program, another spending program, increasing spending again in every program. That is now gone. Now the talk is, how little do we spend? How can we start getting the tiger back in the cage? And so that has shifted dramatically what we're talking about. And even during this whole process, the president wanted two things. He wanted, first, a clean debt ceiling with no bargaining at all, like the previous debt ceilings. We didn't give him that and said, no way, we've got to be able to get this issue on the table. The second thing he wanted was tax increases to cover it. Now, the tax increases, he said, wouldn't start till 2013, but in reality, the Affordable Care Act, the Health Care Act, the taxes for that also started in 2013. We have $1 trillion in additional taxes that started in 2013 already for the health care bill. He wanted to put another $1 trillion on top of that as well starting in 2013. I think that's a wrong way to go, is to work our way through 2011 and 12 and then drop $2 trillion worth of tax increases starting that year on. So we said that is a non-starter. We think it's a bad thing for the economy. It's a wrong thing to be able to hit the one group that's still making money and that's still creating jobs is that group. It's a tough thing to be able to hit the job creators, and then we really have a tough time.
Thank you, Congressman Lankford.